Welcome to the Shellonomics Podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Mictus.
All right, guys, another episode of Shellonomics. Before we get started, though, this is a celebration milestone. This is podcast episode number 50. So before we deep dive into season 5, I want to talk to our good friend again, TMNT Dare Talk, Christian. Christian, what was it like when you hit number 50 on your podcast run?
Oh, dude! First off, congratulations on 50 episodes. That's a great milestone. And I also remember back then that was something very special because I never thought that I would do it this long. And well, 10 years later, here we go again. Yeah, it's great. It's a great milestone. It feels good. 50 is a great number.
Yeah, exactly. And just for me, at least, like some of the, you try some new stuff out. We've had gamers, we've had toy collectors, we've had our own like monologue similar to yours. We've had celebrities, some fans. It's been a nice run, and hopefully the next 50 episodes are going to be just like this, getting some turtle fans, some more Shellonomics. And right now we're going to deep dive into season 5 of the original 1987 series. For those who are keeping score. We did the Easter episodes part of season 4 to wrap that up. So we're going to start with My Brother the Bad Guy. Now, I want to hear the review of the episode here and also your thoughts on this episode, because I got a little bone to pick with this episode here.
Oh, really? Yeah, first off, this is the first episode of the 5th season, but if you ask me, this should have been the season finale of season 4. Because season 4 didn't really have a season finale. If you remember, like season 1 had a big final episode, season 2, season 3, they all had those big final episodes where the Technodrome has to be stopped. But in season 4, there was just regular episodes. And now we have this episode where we meet Shredder's Orokusaki's brother, who is a policeman. I mean, one of the problems I have with this episode is that the brother is called Lieutenant Saki. Like, Saki is the family name, but that's actually wrong because in Japanese it's Oroku Saki. Oroku, the family name is first, so it should have been Lieutenant Oroku. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, we meet this guy and he works together with the Turtles to stop Shredder. And, well, in the end, the Technodrome comes back to Earth. But the Turtles, they intervene, and the Technodrome lands not in New York, but in the Arctic. And that's the new place where the Technodrome is staying for a while.
Yep, I agree. Now, the one thing I did not like about this episode, well, the funny part was fine, the little comedy where where the Saki's brother tells them to go stand in the corner like little kids, that's fine, little comedic laugh for children. But the way, you remember how the Turtles won this? What did Splinter teach them? Do you remember the name of what Splinter taught these Turtles to do here? The art of woo-wee? It's such a bad episode. It probably escaped your memory brain, which is totally fine. So the reason this one stands out, because this is probably one of the worst episodes, and I really don't want to poo-poo it too much because we all love Turtles and we want to be a positive channel. However, this really just kills the whole, again, trying to take Shredder and Krang as serious villains. So Splinter teaches the Turtles to do woo-wee, which is a good way in life. Sometimes if you're having a problem, sometimes it's just best to, take a deep breath and chill. Whether, you're in an argument with somebody in the family or work's getting you down, just to chill. But what happens here is Technodrome's coming back like a boss. And the Turtles are like, let's just do woo-wee. So Bebop and Rocksteady start fighting in the Technodrome, and they screw up the whole entire plan just by fighting in the Technodrome. And then they go into the Arctic. So it's just a bummer for me because, like you're saying, Christian, had this been a season finale, that could have been okay if Bebop and Rocksteady screws up. But this is how the season starts. Is they're in the frozen Arctic. I just I just really didn't like how this one turned out. I think it could have done a little bit better with the twist and all that. So yes, so the woo-wee was the thing that just really had a bone to pick. But the good news is...
Was this really?
Yeah.
Was this really in this episode?
I thought it was woo-wee where they fall out. I'll have to double check.
I know what you mean. I remember the scene. Yeah. But I thought, if I remember, wasn't this like later when the Technodrome tried to escape the Arctic, like in the next season? I'm not completely sure.
Yeah,
I know
because I remember they come flying. It's like it was almost like above air or something. I should actually pull this up really quick. I know.
Yeah, because of this giant magnet, the Technodrome gets pulled to Earth. That's right. That was in this episode. Yeah.
Okay, it was the woo wee. Yeah, because it was just like, just so cringe. I was just like, come on, guys. These are supposed to be the badass turtles and all this stuff, and now they're just gonna, no problem, sitting and meditating. But it's just Bebop and Rocksteady. It was just, it just really was. It was just frustrating because again, this is just where the bad guys very rarely win. But good news is when one door closes, another one opens, and we get the debut of a cool action figure we had growing up as a kid. The next episode is Michelangelo meets Mondo Gecko. How'd you like this one?
Dude, Mondo Gecko is a great character. And he's also in this episode. As we find out in this episode that Mondo Gecko, as a little lizard, was mutated alongside the turtles through the same mutagen. But he got picked up by some evil guy just called Mr. X, and he was he was trained to be a bad guy. So Mondo Gecko was a bad guy in this series at first, but Michelangelo was able to show him that he is not really a bad guy and that they can be buddies. So in the end, they work together to stop the bad guy, Mr. X, and his goons. And in the end, Mondo Gecko became a neighbor, a sewer neighbor with the turtles. So, hey, everything fine.
I thought it was pretty cool. I liked how they rewrote the history of the turtles, too, where they show him falling through the glass bowl and Michelangelo keeps having his dream. So I thought it was a really well-written episode there, and it looks like with the credits here, it was somebody I'm not too familiar with. It was written by Gary Greenfield. I'm not too familiar with his work, but good job. Kudos to you, writer, on this show. This was actually a really good one.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
Yeah.
Could be his only episode.
Right, very true. Maybe we can get him on a podcast one day. Coming back, though, our good friend David Wise at it again. Enter Mutagen Man, who is voiced by Rob Paulson. Raphael, how'd you like this episode here?
Yeah, Mutagen Man is a cool character. I mean, his real name is Seymour Guts, and in this episode, he's like this normal dude who falls into this vat of unfinished mutagen. And I always thought this was pretty cruel because you see how he dissolves and all his body parts are floating in this vat. It's ugh. But then they built this robotic body to keep his body parts together, and he has the ability to transform into every other person. So at first, I mean, he was never a bad guy. He was never really a bad guy. Shredder used him to steal some chemicals, but in the end, he helped the turtles and he became a normal human again in the end. So for him, everything worked out. That's fine. And hey, the action figure was fantastic of Mutagen Man.
Oh, yes, I agree. And it's very hard to find, too. We had a friend on Talking Vintage Toys before, if you guys want to check out other episodes of how many pellets he actually has. Because, again, if you're a kid, you don't know, I got this toy. Well, there's actually a lot of pellets you have to get for Mutagen Man. So, I thought this one was a pretty cool episode, almost like a Shang Tsung before in Mortal Kombat, where he transforms into all the characters. I always think of good old Mortal Kombat with that one. This next episode's kind of, I don't know. This is another just weird, bizarre episode with Donatello and I don't know if they're trying to parody off the Beverly Hillbillies or what's going on here, but take us through Donatello's bad time.
Yeah, this is one of the goofier episodes because Donatello gets the Turtles van stolen by some bad guys who are called the Bats. They're the Bat family, and they, as you said, there are some hillbillies, and they're using the turtle van to rob some banks, and Donatello is embarrassed that the turtle van got stolen, so he doesn't tell the other turtles. He tries to take care of it himself, and it's crazy shenanigans. And well, in the end, everything works out fine. The bats get beaten, and the turtle gets their van back. So everything works out fine in the end, as always. There's one scene in this episode that I always remember because the bats, they steal like this weird diamond crystal thing, which is a power source for a machine that some kind of professor created. But if they are able to rip the crystal out of the machine will explode and take out the whole city. And I remember this one scene where there's like this flashback, and suddenly the professor appears on screen. It's like, remember, when they take out the crystal, the whole city would explode. Yeah, I know. I also hate flashbacks, but someone has to tell you.
Yeah. Did you think any of these features on the Turtle Van could have made it as a part of the toy, or did you have any favorite features that Donatello added in this one?
One thing I remember is when it got like this on stilts, when it rose, something like this. I guess this could have been a feature on the Turtle Van, but I don't think the others. I mean, yeah, of course, there's things like smoke. It can create smoke, or it can create ice. Things like this. Like, okay, this could work. But others, there's this one scene when the Turtle Van gets really flat to fit through an alley. I don't think that this could have worked on the toy.
Yeah, I agree exactly. Just some real shenanigans. Good if you're a Donatello fan, he gets the spotlight. But yeah, that one was just one of those where it was cool to see, but again, it's one that really doesn't have any plot points. But I guess again, if you're a Donatello fan and you want to see some wacky Ninja Turtle gadgets on the van, you'll enjoy this one. Then we come back to our good friend David Wise with Michelangelo meets Bugman again. I didn't think that Bugman would come back for a second episode because, as we talked earlier, Christian, in season 3 and 4, a lot of those guys in season 4 are just one-offs. But were you excited to see Bugman once again?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I was surprised to see him again, as you say. I also thought that he would just be a one-off character. But it was cool to see him again, and that we got some backstory from him. As you remember, in the last episode when we talked about the first Bugman episode, I always thought that it was weird that there was a comic book about him, but he really existed. And actually, in this episode, we find out that there's this guy, what was his name? Cherry Spiegel, who was a comic creator.
I believe so.
Yeah, and he was a comic creator, and he wrote down the adventures of Bugman because he couldn't think of a story of his own. And so now everybody knew about Bugman and knew his secret identity, and that caused trouble for him. And we get a new villain in this episode called the Sweater, who is a parody of the Shredder, like a cheap knockoff of the Shredder. Well, in the end, it turns out that it is the comic creator himself, and that he wanted to create a comic book about the turtles. So a little meta here, a little meta gag there, because in the end, like the turtles, like, wouldn't it be crazy if there would be comic books about us? Yeah, that would be insane. And then Michelangelo pulls out a TMNT comic, like, whoa, this is the best stuff. Like, nice.
Yeah, come on, you dudes read it too. Something like that he says too at the end of the episode, right?
Yeah.
No, I had fun with that one. I enjoyed that one a lot. That was a good one. Then we go into another one where I was just pushing the toy line too here with Muckman and Joe Eyeball. How'd you like Muckman Messes Up?
This episode, you gotta admit, in this season we have lots of new mutants, which didn't happen that much in the series, if you think about it. But yeah, in this episode we get Muckman and Joe Eyeball, who were just two normal guys. They were what were they doing? Their job was
garbage men, right? I think
garbage men. Thank you. Yeah, sure. That was it. Something with trash. I couldn't think of the word garbage man. Yeah, and they by accident get mutated into, as you said, Mugman and Joe Eyeball. And they also had this weird mutant power that whenever the turtles got close to them, the turtles got really, really weak. And so, of course, Shredder used this. And it's once again like the story where the Mugman and Joe Eyeball think that the turtles are the bad guys and Shredder's the good one. But in the end, they find out that, yeah, of course, it's the other way around, and they help the turtles. Pretty much like the Mondo Gecko episode. We get a little, it's pretty similar. But yeah, one thing I always remember about this episode is in the end, the Mugman and Joe Eyeball, they still are mutants, and they're like, and Donatello's like, I will find a way to turn you back into normal humans. Well, we never see them again, so I don't know. Did this work out? We will never find out.
Yeah, and I think Irma was crushing on Joe Eyeball or something, right? Or Joe Eyeball was crushing on Irma, right? One of the two. I think he gets garbage
this way around.
Oh, boy. Then we go into Napoleon Man. I think anybody who's a kid remembers how Napoleon talks in this one. Napoleon Bonaparte, Colossus of the Swamps.
Yeah. This is one of these episodes where I'm really surprised that we got an action figure out of it. Like NECA did with Napoleon Colossus version. And yeah, this is pretty much that Shredder's got this mutagen gun that he shoots at Napoleon, and Napoleon turns into like this Hulk-like big mutant frog. Who's super strong but not the smartest, and he's using him, but he always transforms back, and it's crazy. It's pretty much what was it that Shredder was after, this crystal thingy? Big Louie was also in this episode.
Yes.
Was this the first episode with Big Louie?
No. He was in the again, it's pretty, we have pretty good memory. So real quick though, you are correct. That was season 6 with the Woo Wee. I did my research. And then this one with Big Louie, he was actually in the Big Cufflink Caper. I believe that was his first episode.
Yeah, correct.
Worked with him. So pretty good for our knowledge. We got this is well over 30 plus years in our data banks here, and this is just being fans of watching this, on and on again. So, yeah, you're correct though. With Big Louie, that was a good episode. It was pretty cool seeing the Punk Frogs again, and you are right about that NECA figure too. That is actually a pretty cool figure to see a giant, ally of the Turtles instead of just always having Android Krang.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, now we get into a very interesting episode here about Father Time and life. Raphael versus the volcano. How interesting was this one to you about Raphael and his life expectancy?
Yeah, this was a crazy episode because of a malfunction of Donatello's devices. He built like this health checking device, and this device tells Raphael that he's about to die. He's very, very sick, and he's going to die very soon. And what does Raphael do? He thinks, hey, I've got nothing to lose. So he turns into a superhero. He puts on a superhero costume and calls him the Green Defender, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And yeah, he's doing all these crazy things. Like in the end, he jumped to get some chemicals out that would destroy the wildlife of Earth. And he's like, hey, because if I die here, it doesn't matter. It's really crazy. He's pretty Daredevil-like. Like he's the turtle without fear. He doesn't care anymore. And yeah, but in the end, Raph gets to know that he's not gonna die. He's totally fine. The machine malfunctioned, so everything's cool. The turtles stop the bad guy. Everything's fine in the end, as always.
Yeah, exactly. Now this is one of my more actually favorite episodes here. This is probably Baxter's best episode in my opinion, Landlord of the Flies. Did you enjoy this one?
This is an interesting episode because, as you said, it has Baxter in it, and he learned to control flies. But it seems to be somehow out of continuity with the other Baxter Stockman episodes because Baxter does not come back from the dimensional limbos. He's suddenly just there, and he didn't bring his computer buddy. Seth is not there. But in the next episode, when we see Baxter, he is there. It's somehow out of continuity. I don't know. But as you said, it's a very entertaining episode. Like Baxter with all his flies and all his flies everywhere. It's pretty disgusting, I gotta say. But yeah, actually, Baxter was pretty competent in this episode. I gotta admit.
Yeah, I like this one. It was almost like the Rat King where he has all his rats. Baxter has all these flies just summoning him around like a huge army, trying to make it almost like a horror movie on a cartoon with all these flies attacking you. So, yeah, I enjoyed this one. Yes, Baxter was not as, watered down with his IQ points at all in this one. So, here's one of the episodes I actually never knew existed until I had the DVD. So I thought my friend was pulling my leg. He's like, yeah, there was this one episode where Donatello clones everybody, which is why he's the best turtle, and the evil Donatello turtle wins. I'm like, what? He's like, yes, there is an episode that exists like this. So finally I get season 6 on DVD, and I said, oh my God, this is the episode. And this is another excellent episode. Can you walk us through this one? Donatello's duplicate.
Yeah, as you said, in this episode, Donatello creates a clone of himself, but once again, because of some malfunctioning of the cloning device, the clone is 10 times smarter, 10 times stronger than the real Donatello. And yeah, he's actually really arrogant, and he's working against Donatello because Pinky McFingers is back in this episode, and he's working together with the Donatello clone to clone all these rats to take over the city. I mean, not really take over the city, but instill fear on the people of the city so that they can steal everything that they want. And the Rat King is also in this episode because he's working together with Pinky McFingers in the beginning, but then Pinky McFingers betrays the Rat King, and so the Rat King helps the Turtles to stop Pinky McFingers. Once again, like earlier, the Rat King is actually sometimes a real neutral character. He's not totally bad guy. It's like, I'm working together with whoever is best for me. So, yeah, pretty cool episode, gotta say.
What are your thoughts on that, actually, Christian, your own personal thoughts about the Rat King showing up in so many episodes, and sometimes he's not the main villain or the star attractor? I think it's pretty cool how he does that once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes him a very interesting character. I mean, throughout the whole TMNT multiverse, I gotta say, Rat King is one of my favorite characters, even though in every universe he's completely different in a way, but I love this. Like in the series, he's this mysterious person. He only suddenly appears. Nobody knows where does he come from. Who is he in reality? We only know that he is the Rat King, but who was he? Why is he like doing what he does? I like this mystery about him, and so I was always happy when the Rat King appeared because you never knew what's gonna happen with him.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, is he going to help the Turtles? Is he not going to help the Turtles? You know, in Great Boldini's episode, he's just there to look at some artwork. So it's pretty cool how he comes around. And now we go into not Frosty the Snowman, just Frosty, Bebop's buddy. I enjoy this just because I always preferred Bebop over Rocksteady. So how'd you like Bebop calling the shots with his new buddy and the Ice Creature Cometh?
Yeah, once again, mutant episode. I mean, Pio and Rocksteady even comment on this episode when Frosty was created, when Frosty was mutated, it's like, that's gonna be one of those mutant episodes again. And yeah, so there's this gigantic ice mutant creature, and I really like in this episode how he bonds with Bebop, because Bebop pulls out like a rocket from his hand like, the old tale with the lion and the thorn. And so the creature really likes Bebop and does what Bebop tells him. And so, of course, they go to the city to cause chaos, and the turtles have to stop this gigantic creature. And the ending is, I gotta say, pretty sad, because in the end, Frosty melts, and Bebop is very sad and even cries a little bit. It's a heartfelt episode.
It's very sad to see him melt. I mean, I see the look on his face, and he's trying to go, and it's because I think the Technodrome frees up a little bit in the ice, but then it goes back to normal after Frosty freezes right on top of him.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh. So here comes another cool episode here. We have a return of a good friend. For anybody who's a bodybuilder, you may enjoy this episode. Leonardo cuts loose.
Yeah, that's a crazy episode. First off, Casey Jones is back. In this episode, we have Casey Jones because Leonardo needs some help from him, because the other three turtles, they get captured by some, bodybuilder goons who are actually some nerds who created a machine that can turn them into super strong bodybuilders. It's crazy, yeah. We're in season 5, so stuff gets weird and weirder. And yeah, so Leonardo and Casey Jones have to work together, and it's pretty interesting episode because Leonardo is always like this. I need a plan to do something, and Casey's always the guy just rush in and hit the bad guys. So it's an interesting dynamic between these two, because normally it's Raphael and Casey Jones, but now we have Leonardo and Casey Jones fighting these bodybuilder villains
with the Strongium 90. What a random.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this one. I mean, David Wise actually wrote this one. A lot more comedy than action. Still pretty cool. The turtles randomly get a workout machine at the sewer, but then where the zaniness comes in, remember, doesn't it teleport them, Christian, from their lair to their home base? Right? I think they're doing curls, or somebody's using the lat press pull down machine, right? And it takes them to their base.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because the turtles, they think hey, we have to work out to get as strong as these bad guys. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Another one that we encourage you to watch. Now, I'm glad we were on the same page with just the notes we have here with the first episode being My Brother the Bad Guy, because over here, this next one is a two-parter, but it also aired on primetime. Also was a VHS tape. I really enjoyed this one. We'll just do both episodes together, and we'll combine them to Planet of the Turtleoids with Kerma.
Oh, yeah. This is another episode with a planet full of turtles. We already had that one, but yes. This is I really like this episode because it felt so different. It felt so special always for me, because we get at the start of the episode we meet Tattoo, and then we get to meet Groundchuck and Dirtbag and Kerma, the little alien turtle, who will come back later again. I always liked Kerma. He was cute. And also Chrome Dome is in this episode, and the Technodrome Scout vehicle, that was also a toy. So this is really full with new characters and pretty cool characters. And yeah, in this episode, the turtles go to this planet of the Turtleoids, where all this turtle creatures live, and there's this gigantic two-headed dragon called Herman the Horrible, who causes trouble for the Turtleoids, so the turtles have to stop him, and in the end it turns out that it's just a robot. And when the turtles come back to Earth, they also have to stop Chrome Dome and this mini Technodrome. So I gotta say, this is one big episode. Yeah, it's a two-parter, so it makes totally sense. It always felt like a really big special episode for me.
Yeah, and it's pretty much like you said. David Wise kind of figured out, it's you know what? If the turtles are gone, why can't Shredder just take over New York? And that's exactly what they were trying to do in this one. So good call on that, too, where they finally tried to just, it was funny when they come back, they make short work of Chrome Dome, and again, that's just due to the episode time. They only have about roughly now on Netflix and Hulu, you're able to have the freedom to have these episodes long as long as you want. Like I was really big into Cobra Kai, and I know sometimes it would be a 30-minute episode, sometimes 45. But back in our day, when this was just on regular television, episodes ran about 23 minutes because they had to squeeze in all those commercials. So.
Exactly.
Now we go into Mr. DJ, the Slicer. Who was the Slicer in Pirate Radio?
Well, it's the Shredder who takes over this radio station, and he's got this device, like this hypnotic device that everyone who hears him has to follow his commands. And yeah, Mikey is also very much into this radio station. And yeah, I mean, the story is pretty weird because Krang like creates this chasm, and he wants everyone in the city to fall into this interdimensional chasm, and so Shredder commands them, go there. And so it was always kind of weird, but yeah, it was. And the Turtles, they threw Mikey out in this episode because he was always blasting his music, and they were pretty pissed about it. Yeah. So they threw him out of the lair. It's a crazy episode if you think about it. It's like it's pretty hard to get the whole story together.
He's walking around. They're like in boats going, right? I think, right? Isn't Urban Vernon paddling a boat? Right. This one is
even a bathtub.
That's right. Correct. Yeah, this one is really all over the place. Then we go into one where I believe they make fun of Crime Dog here with some disguises. Raphael, Turtle of 1,000 Faces.
Yeah, this is the episode where we meet Maddox McMutt, a new bad guy, like a little crime boss who is all about dogs. He looks like a bulldog, and he's got this dog motif, like his home building is like a fire hydrant, stuff like this, crazy. And Raphael has a new passion. He wants to be like, he's totally into costumes and trying to be undercover. And so he dresses himself up as Maddox McMutt. And so, of course, both of them get confused because Maddox, of course, also gets insomnia, so he doesn't remember that he's the real Maddox until he gets hit in the head again. Then he remembers again, and they're crazy shenanigans once again. But I like that in the end of the episode, or near the end of the episode, April showed that she's got some ninja moves of her own. She fought for once, and the Turtles were very impressed by it. And she's like, "Hey, I'm hanging around with you for a while. I gotta pick up some of the stuff you do." So that was pretty cool, pretty unusual thing here.
Yes, I agree. I enjoyed that little spot with April. Yeah, and I Raphael, who's Raphael? It's like he keeps getting knocked unconscious. Yeah, that one was pretty fun. How about this one? Three episodes in a row now. We're going to have returning characters. So, who comes back in Leonardo the Renaissance Turtle?
Yeah, in this episode, there's a new police robot called Lex. So, to fight him, we get the return of Rex 1. Yeah, we hadn't seen him since season 2, so it was like, that's been overdue to see him again. And the story is also about that the other turtles are out of town, so Leonardo has to take care of this whole situation together with April and Rex 1. And so, Leonardo becomes the Renaissance Turtle because he's able to do all the stuff that the other turtles are doing, more or less, like being sarcastic like Raphael and being smart like Donatello and so on and so forth. And it was just cool to see Rex 1 again. That was a good one. Yep.
Yeah. It was like, and again, if you're a Leonardo fan, I think you'll enjoy this one a lot because he is the main star. So this one's a little... I don't know where they were going with this one, but this is where we get Wingnut and Screwloose, Zack, and the Alien Invaders.
Yeah, in this episode, we get the return of Zack, and he's totally into this alien comics, and he starts to see aliens everywhere, and it drives everyone nuts. So he gets sent to like this military school, and it turns out that this military school is actually, it got taken over by, as you said, Wingnut and Screwloose. This is their debut episode, and well, their only episode. And in this series, they are the bad guys, even though in most other incarnations they are good guys. But here they are bad guys. They're alien invaders. They try to take over the world with the help of little kids that they brainwash. Okay. And they also got this robotic cockroaches. But of course, the turtles, they stop them and they flee, and that's the end of them. We never see them again here.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want kids to take over the world with, but to each their own. Yeah, I know this was years before, but you're close to my age. Do you remember the Power Rangers movie? Those cockroaches remind me of Ivan Ooze's big bugs, the robotic bugs.
Oh, yeah, there's similarities there. Yeah.
Resemblance there. Here comes another friend that I didn't think we'd ever see, but the Polarisoids come back, which I believe his family comes back, or at least the kids, right? I think Mikey babysits them, and welcome back, Polarisoids.
Yeah, he brings his whole family. His wife is also there. And we also, in this episode, we get to find out that his name is Fripp, because in the first episode, he was always only called the Polarisoid. We never got his name. And yeah, he comes back with his camera, and Krang gets his hands on the camera, and he uses, if I remember correctly, he's reverse engineering the whole thing. So all these things that the Polarisoid took pictures of at other planets, they start to appear in the city, like some monsters, creatures, and even volcanoes, causing trouble for the turtles. And yeah, that's pretty much. And yeah, as you said, Michelangelo is babysitting the kids, who are annoying as shell. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And then we get, so Mikey fans, we get back-to-back Michelangelo episodes. And again, Christian, we really don't get a season season ending here. I think we both agree season 3's ending is probably the best one we get for a while, because these other season endings are kind of all over the place. This one is Michelangelo, the Sacred Turtle, to bring us home for season 5.
Yeah, this is, as you said, this is once again just a normal episode, no season ending. And once again, in the next season, we get an episode that could have worked as a season ending, but well, whatever. So, yeah, this is the episode with the typo in the title, because Michelangelo is written wrong in the title. It's Michelangelo. It's okay. Yeah, this is once again a pretty weird episode, because we get another bad guy who's like this professor for Egypt and for Egyptology and for mummies and all this stuff and the pyramids and things like this. And Michelangelo tries to stop him, and he meets some other guys from Egypt who think that he is like this ancient turtle from Egypt called Amenturtle. And they and they do everything that Mikey tells them. And what was the plan? Oh yeah, of course, the bad guy, he wanted to use like the power from an meteorite that was flying by to turn himself into a super being, whatever. This whole story is all over the place. It's once again crazy.
Yeah, Exactamundo, dude. They always pitch in like the little Michelangelo talks, dude. Like just have the random stuff. So
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Just again, this is more comedic based. So, as season 5 is over, what were your overall thoughts on it? It seems like this was supposed to be like Turtle Mania is still a high, so there's still a demand, but we got cut down to about 20-ish episodes. So, how'd you like this one overall?
Overall, I think this is a good season. As I said, in 1991, as the season came out, Turtle Mania was still pretty high. And yeah, we had some really big highlights in this episode, I gotta say. I mean, we got to meet some cool characters like Mondo Gecko, Mutagen Man, Mugman, and yeah, some comebacks from Baxter Stockman or Rex One. And of course, the highlight would be the 2-part Planet of the Turtleoids.
Yes.
I always loved this one. Overall, there are some pretty strong episodes, and overall, I gotta say, it's a strong season. I mean, it's already season 5, and we know as the longer this series runs, the weirder and wackier it gets. And yeah, we can see this in these episodes. But overall, still, I think this is a good season. I gotta say, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. A lot of good episodes. And so next time we get Christian on, we'll talk about season 6, the one that I have the real big bone to pick, the woo-wee, as Christian was correct. It is in season 6. And it sucks because that episode started off so good with General Trag. But we're going to save that for another episode. Christian, before we go, can you let people know if they want to find out more turtle info in Germany, where they can find you, friend?
Yeah, if you think, this Christian is an interesting guy, I want to hear more about him, well, you can. I've got my podcast, TMT The Talk, where I release, yes, German, but also English episodes. So you all can check them out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and pretty much everywhere else. And you can get all the information about my podcast at tmnttalk.com. I've got a big website. Check it out.
All right, Christian, thank you as always, my friend, and hopefully we'll see you soon for season 6.
I'll be there.